Hello everybody, welcome to Gaming Hour. I'm your host Anthony, and today we are going to be showing you the tutorial of how to avert the Civil War in Kaiserreich. So this is not necessarily a strategy that a lot of people know or even do, but it can really save you a lot of time and effort while making the United States a superpower peacefully rather than the Civil War. So what I'm going to do first in this video is show you what will happen if the Civil War goes through and what will happen if it does not. So let's jump into it. Okay, just really quick, I wanted to show you what the United States starts out with in 1936. So it starts out with 5 total divisions, 1 garrison, 3 infantry, and 1 cavalry division. None of them trained fully. These are your generals that you will start with. Not a bad set, but you will not obviously keep all of them once the Civil War breaks out. You have several navies. You have the Atlantic Fleet, which is comprised of Atlantic squadrons and the Panama garrison. That's what I always do anyway. And you also have Pacific Fleet. Now, I accidentally got them stuck over here in Hawaii when I was trying to pick up some guys that were stuck out here, so you have this massive fleet, plus this bit that I forgot up here in Seattle. And as for an Air Force, you only have 50 fighters and 125 bombers. Your production starts out pretty meager with only 8 military factories. 25 dockyards isn't bad for a start out, but it's not great. And so you don't need me to tell you that the United States is not prepared for a 4-way civil war with land grabs all across the globe. So we're going to continue on, and I will bring you back once some events of the Civil War start popping up. Okay, so these are a couple events that just popped up. Obviously, Black Monday has hit America, which is essentially the World Great Depression of the Berlin Stock Exchange collapsing. So that's just more woes for the American people, because now we're already in a Great Depression, as you can see, and this is just adding on to it, which is really spiraling the political crisis in America out of control. So we're going to take that, and then world premiere. It's just one of the cool little events that pops up. So, -1 stability. As you can see, we're already at 37, but that will drop way lower. So, see you in a few. Another event that has popped up is Vice President Curtis recovers. But that's less stability, so lovely. Now, this is one of the first events of the Civil War brewing in America, the Battle of the Overpass. It's essentially unionism rising in the Rust Belt, I guess you could say. I'm not sure if that's even the Rust Belt, but the Chicago-Detroit area, it's Reed and his followers of the communist syndicalists, and essentially just a little bit of down stability. So now we're down to 39, and of course we have this, so I don't know why you would ever veto the bill, so we'll just gain this stability, and we'll be back. So, we have just reached this event, a day in September, and now a critical step is to be made. So, essentially what it says is we can either continue with the elections in November, or we can have MacArthur step in as a military Kaiser and take over the states from a military standpoint. Now, there's no in-canon answer for the right choice. There's no official history guide. But what most people and new players tend to do is see the military as the way to keep order, not really knowing how the Civil War will go, and that's what the AI usually chooses. So for the sake of the Civil War simulation, we will invite MacArthur in to take control. And as you can see, Douglas MacArthur is now our head of state. And we have just started out our focus tree, so now we can start going down his side of the focus tree. And that is what I shall do. But it's not really essential for the Civil War. But I shall return. And obviously this event pops up. But yeah, I shall return when things go worse. And as you can see, the Constitutional Ban Act was just proposed by MacArthur, which is essentially taking the syndicalists and Huey Long's parties out of the election. So we're going to go ahead and pass that act. And let's watch the chaos unfold. And so it begins. Reed has just seceded from the Union, but we will stand by our republic. And obviously now there is a hostile state smack dab right in the middle of our nation, splitting off New England from the rest of the nation. And so let's continue and see what happens. Now, Long has declared his own independence, but we will stand by our republic. How much worse can it possibly get? Oh crap, our fleet has mutinied, and California has left the Union. But it will be war. And there goes the rest of there. So essentially the Confederate States have risen up against us. We're going to send in the military. And Cuba has seized Guantanamo Bay. Ay, ay, ay. And there goes California with the Pacific States. They won't always go to war. But we will not revoke that. And then Hawaii goes away. Get a bunch of troops, Navy's defect, and the Second American Civil War has begun. So, there could be more. Canada has seized New England. And some volunteers. So, what has happened so far? Let's do a quick recap. The combined syndicalists have taken over much of the industrial sector of America: Michigan, Detroit, Chicago, Illinois, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. The Union State has seized essentially all of the old Confederate lands from the first Civil War. You know, the Carolinas, Georgia, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, all that. Pacific States, California, Oregon, and Washington have seceded, essentially blocking us off from our Pacific region, giving Hawaii the chance to break away. All that we really control now is the Central American region along the Mexican border and the crap out here. Although they have given us now, how many divisions is this? Let's see. 34. They have given us 34 divisions right now to fight off 3 enemies. Obviously, this is a bad situation for anyone involved, even if you intend on winning. Unless you really want to play the Civil War out and see if you can win, this is like the worst possible situation you could get yourself into. So now I'm going to show you guys how to avoid all this bloodshed and crap. Okay, so we are back now in a new game, and now I will show you how to stop the Civil War. And once again, the Day in September event has popped off, but this time, we want the elections to go on ahead. So, we shall see what this brings. And now, the presidential election of 1936. This is where you can really start changing things. So, to avoid the Civil War, well, let's go over our choices first. We have the Democrat John Nance Garner. We have Charles Curtis of the Republican Party. We have Huey Long of the AUS, or the AUP. And we have Jack Reed of the CSA. We want Charles Curtis, the Republican, because as you can see with his focus tree, he can compromise with Reed and pass through the Civil War. So we will pick Mr. Charles, rather. Curtis. Okay, let's see where this brings us. And so really quickly, what I just wanted to show is that Long and Reed have both contested the results. So obviously they're just having a little pity party just because they haven't won. So damn them both. Now begins our next step, which is Curtis wants to negotiate with Reed. And we do want this. So we're going to go negotiations best and just continue on. Well, we don't need this, but... And he has agreed to sit down in Chicago, so hopefully there is hope. Now, Long wants to join the meeting. We do not want him because all he's going to do is start a fight and start a civil war. So he has no business there. Get that out of the way. Reed has put his demands up, and now essentially he wants a 40-hour work week and a minimum wage set. We're going to give in to some of his demands. We don't want to give in to all of them because we don't need to piss everyone off, and that's losing a lot of stability. We can implement some and show him that we're willing to work. It's all about compromise, really. So we're going to implement some of his reforms and continue on. Now, Long is protesting. We'll give him some assurances, but we're not going to give in to him. So we'll just give him some assurances and send him on his way. Now, MacArthur thinks Long is dangerous. He wants him assassinated. We're gonna do it. So, he is now dead. And that's awful. It's so unfortunate. But it was a necessary step in securing the nation's future. And we have peace at last. A political crisis has passed, and we have avoided the Civil War. And that, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, is how you defeat the Civil War before it can even begin. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please be sure to hit like and subscribe. I'm sorry if I sounded a little weird in this video. I'm kind of dealing with some allergies, so I'm stuffed up. My throat's a little sore, but I'll feel better soon. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.